Been noticing a trend in the evening here. It's about 6:20. 6 meters starts to open up in the evening. Not really sure why, but it just seems to be the case. Now, usually on the ham clock, if I see, like, let's say one person spotted on 10 meters and 4 people on 6 meters, I'm probably not going to hear anything. It's just usually the way it is. This always perplexes the hell out of me. I'm like, what am I listening to? These guys are on here like all the time. I don't know why they do it. They don't seem to be pilots. Now, there used to be a bunch of religious fanatics that would get on 80 meters and they would use upper sideband. I think maybe either to get attention or to not get attention. Possibly just like, so people would tune to the band and just pass them by. So these guys are on here every day, and I really don't know why. I've been curious enough a few times that I almost decided to break in and ask them why they were on upper sideband. They kind of didn't seem friendly, so I thought that might not be a good idea.
Sometimes I need to get a disassembler.
I think that they do it because they don't want to talk to anybody else. Okay, they want, like, it's like their version of a PLL tone or something. They want their conversation to be kind of private, and so I just leave them alone. Anyway, it just happened to be where the radio was sitting. It's going to be pretty hard for us to pick anything up on this band with all that noise. DNR was not on. So anyway, it says 3 and 0 on 10 meters now. 10 meters has been like really, really bad here. Like, I haven't heard anything on 10 meters in quite some time. And I don't know if this radio's set to where I can just go check 11 meters or not. Yeah, so there's 11 meters right there. And I'll usually check 11 and then I'll go check 10, back and forth. I don't talk on 11. I'm not a CB guy. When I was a kid, I had a CB radio, and I wasn't on there very long. I've told this story before. I got a radio from a friend, and tried to get it to work with a 12-volt wall wart, and it didn't work. And then I learned quickly that it needed a more powerful wall wart. And then I met some other kids in the neighborhood that had CB radios, and we used to talk on there. But a lot of the adults back then didn't necessarily know we were kids because we were teenagers. And I had a bunch of these guys show up at my house. I must have said something bad to them. And so my dad was pretty pissed off. And so he didn't really want me on the radio anymore. And I ended up trading the CB radio for a mini bike. And I got this mini bike from this kid, and it didn't run. And I traded him and I got it running really easy. And he was pretty upset. He wanted to trade back, and I told him nope. And then I got another motorcycle. So it was just mini bike, motorcycle, and then family problems at home. So I just, you know, I ended up being an award of the state. So, you know, I wasn't really going to be talking on the CB radio in a group home in Seattle, you know. So, you know, I grew up on a farm and ended up in a group home in Seattle. So that was pretty much the end of CB radio for me. But I was always interested in ham radio, and I used to go to the library when I was a kid and read the books and stuff like that. And so, you know, years and years later, I got into CB radio for about a month or two before I got my ham radio license, because I met some guys in Washington, up in the Everett area, that were all on Channel 8, and they were all hams. And they immediately were like, dude, you need to get your ham license. So I did. And I used to talk to them on Channel 8, and then I moved, and I never really lived anywhere else where there was local people worth talking to on CB radio. Southern Oregon, there was a few people on there, but that was about it. Redding, California, there was like 2 ham guys that lived pretty close to me. Here, there isn't anybody. I mean, there's some weird dude that argues with everybody, and there's some other weird dude that makes moaning noises into the radio. And there might be a couple of other random dudes that, like, I've heard before. And there's like a Hawaiian guy that gets on Channel 6, but they don't have like any like local conversations really. So CB radio is cool, but to me, I'm not interested in shooting skip on CB radio. I don't know, man. Being a ham kind of ruins that for me, because like, it's like, oh, you don't have a real call sign, I can't log you in QRZ. There's just something about QRZ that's just really cool, man. Like, you'd be able to log a contact and, you know, come into your thing here, you know. I don't know if I can pull it up real quickly. But you get into your QRZ, you can see other people's profiles, you can see what radios they have, you know, you can, you know, chase certain grids and countries, and, you know, some people saying QSL cards, you know, I mean, I don't know. But, like, you know, like, I look at my logbook and I'm just like, you know, you can't put CB radio in here. So I just, to me, it's like kind of like pretending to play radio, you know. I mean, I can get on there and talk if I want to. I have to get a radio out that works on there, but, you know, and people on ham radio already act pretty bad, so, you know, it's about the same thing if I go on CB most of the time. Maybe even a little bit nicer. But I just like to listen 90% of the time, even on ham radio, so the AM is cool, but I don't understand the whole Super Bowl thing. Like, it seems kind of silly to me, and it's really embarrassing when I hear somebody that's Caucasian talking like they're not, and you guys know exactly what I'm talking about. It's really, really embarrassing, and it feels awkward for me to listen to some dude that's clearly white talk like he's African American, and I don't like it. I think it's fake. I think it's insultive to those other people and the rest of us. But that's just me. So there's no way I'm going to get on there and speak jive on Channel 6 and run illegal amounts of power. That doesn't really sound like all that much fun, trying to talk over the top of somebody else and say weird things like 410 instead of 10-4 and calling people cotton pickers. I mean, this stuff these guys are saying is like, you're white, you can't say this crap. Oh my god. I mean, if they want to do it, that's up to them, but, you know. But, you know, talking like, I'm in the Kona, I got down. Stop. You're embarrassing all of us. You're a shame. It's sad. I listen to these guys and I'm like, oh man. And some of these guys are very, very well known. And if I mention any of their names, somebody would get really mad at me for saying anything. So, but anyway, now channel 38 on sideband is like a whole other crazy can of worms. And that doesn't really interest me that much either. But there's definitely a lot of people on there. So, I use CB radio to check to see if we have good conditions. Usually what it means is you don't hear anybody on 10, you're probably not going to make a voice contact. But if you hear people on 11 meters, you probably can get on 10 meters and make an FT8 contact or two. And that's kind of how I like to do it. But anyway, I don't think there's anything going on these bands. I don't even think, 12 meters, nothing, So, that's just my take on certain things, but "15 meters" is a really cool band when it's open. The biggest problem is all the noise during the day. It's just unlikely to really hear anything. It says 17's open, but I'm not like seeing anything right off the top. 20 is pretty bad noise-wise. Somebody's gonna have to be pretty strong for me to hear them on here. And we got the upper sideband dudes. And then we probably got like the...
Okay. Well, I got that LMR to 100. Now, I think that was $1 for 100 too.
There's too much politics, I think, on 40.
I'm gonna put that on the vertical. And the vertical will be at about 30, 35 on Apex. And I'm done. I'm not gonna do this no more. I'm done. Roger, okay. Oh, yeah, that's the way to visit.
Let's take a look at the entire band. I'm not used to this display. It's just not that good.
That's why I say I'm done. Once I do the vertical, I'm done. I'm not gonna do this anymore. I'm done. I'm not gonna get my weed split down to the right knee. I'm gonna listen to the YL, close the door when she's speaking, and mind my own business. Rachel, you don't close the door when your YL is talking to you. I'll go with that. Hey, Rico, that's what you used to do. You gotta change that there, Roger. Man, I'm okay. looking at while she gone.
Just seen a signal there. Tuned to it. And it just... Boy, I can't even understand what they're saying. They might as well be speaking Spanish. And then we have the Misfits frequency. These guys are so inappropriate that I can't even put it on YouTube anymore. Yeah, anyway. It claims 10 meters and 6 is open, but there ain't nothing over here, guys.